Most of us do not enter our teenage years with a pure sacral chakra. Remember how it felt to realize that you lost your innocence and childlike wonder for the world? Well, I'm here to tell you that creative, playful energy never truly goes. And this is coming from someone who lost his innocence at a very, very young age. And I didn't even know that this pure version of this energy even existed. But as with everything, no energy is ever destroyed. It only transmutes into a different form. And with the sacral chakra, this has all to do with our inner child. If our inner child no longer feels safe enough to playfully interact with all of life, it will find other ways to release their creative desires, aka addiction. Hello, Divine Reflection. Lovely seeing you here again. Hey, I want to start this podcast with a question, if that's alright. Purely hypothetical, but please answer in your head. If you wanted to control a population of gods, how would you do it? Would you teach them that they were never creator beings to begin with? That instead they are a slave to the circumstances of their life? Oh, just get a job, is safer that way. Don't follow your dreams, you can't eat. Just a fallback plan. Wouldn't you keep them as overstimulated and as distracted and drained and hopeless as possible? Also, they don't come to the realization that maybe, just maybe, they're all puppets to your money-making game, your money-making show. Then, just in case anyone is foolish, or should I say smart enough to question the system that they live in and start to expose it, maybe online, or all you have to do is accuse them of some ethically profane shit. And the rest, the masses are going to do it for you. They're going to dismantle them for you because you've emotionally traumatized them too. Crabs in a barrel. All you have to do is keep them in the lower 3 chakras and you're chilling, bro. Because if for any reason they actually reach the 4th and they find out that love is deeper than the cliche word you made it out to be, it would free them all. And that's trouble for you. Glad that was all hypothetical though. Alright? Ladies and gentlemen and others, welcome back to the Break the Matrix podcast. This is the 5th episode. We're getting a bit infamous in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm your boy, Jay Kaizen, your host, Jay Kaizen. I'm an indigo starseed writer, entrepreneur, content creator extraordinaire. Before we get started on anything, man, I wanted to take some time out and ask you, how are you? People don't do that in YouTube videos or podcasts anymore. How are you? Like, truly. I will reply to everybody in the comments that actually takes the time out to take 15 seconds to understand how they're feeling. Because I would hate for anything in your emotional field, in your energetic field right now, to hinder or block the downloads I'm about to give you. This shit is life-changing, and I've spent the past few weeks being very inconsistent with this podcast, trying to make this episode something of real value. So please, how are you, bro? Check in with yourself. Once you've done that, we'll start this week's episode, man. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about the central creativity chakra today. I'm very, very, very excited. The sacral chakra, yeah? What I love about this particular chakra series is that there's so much room to explore the human condition through these energy centers. Like, this episode might be about sacral chakra, but it's actually not. Like, when you delve deeper into it, it's nothing to do with quote unquote sacral chakra. That's just a label. We're really talking about the connection between our sexual and creative energies. Yes, they're the same thing. Our emotions and our creativity, yeah? And also your ability to leave this physical realm and astral project. Yeah, this ain't a normal podcast, guys. We're not talking about the same egoic shit that every other video is going to talk about. So yeah, man, link in the description for my Patreon for all the souls that are ready to take that deep dive. And yeah, man, let's get into it. Fuck all that promotion shit. It's time to get into the sacral chakra. Sacral chakra explained, chapter 1. Let's do this shit. Previously, we touched on the root chakra, right? Which is all about our physical, material existence, how we get bound up into this circus of life, the wheel of samsara, right? But the sacral chakra, it's less about that. It's I call it the first gate of spiritual reality, because the root chakra is literally all about physical, how to ground. The element associated with the root chakra is just the earth. When it comes to sacral chakra, the element is water, and that shows a lot, and that's associated a lot with the sacral chakra for so many reasons. Yeah, it's all about creativity, sexuality, and self-gratification. Yeah, you know, when people, and this is gonna fuck you up. I'm sorry, it's gonna fuck you up, because you're gonna be like, say word, because you probably didn't know this. You know how when we receive a lot of pleasure from something, whether it be, you know, pleasure from sex or pleasure from food, we always tend to go, You know, it's so natural as well. You eat something, you're like, Yeah. Coincidentally, did you know that is the mantra for the sacral chakra, which tells us the energy center and its expression? Like, it literally shows you exactly what it does. It's that spark for life, that desire, that lust. Literally, the sacral chakra is how we lust for life. Do you get? So the sacral chakra really starts to develop and awaken around puberty. And it makes sense, because when you think about it, everybody is getting the first like sexual urges at that time, and you get very overwhelmed with emotion. If you're a teenager, you know this, like, you're watching this. But I need to make it very clear, and this is why I'm actually starting it with just sacral chakra explained. Even though I'm going to go deeper in chapter 2, you need to understand that when it comes to how you may be experiencing the sacral chakra right now, it's a very manipulated form, right? Right now, you are living in a society that is constantly inundating you to be stuck in these lower chakras, right? So you're not going to be experiencing the most exalted, purified form of said chakra's energy. It's not normal to be so lustful. It's not normal to be so overcome with these sexual thoughts or whatever at the age that we are when we're teenagers. But because of modern conveniences like Pornhub, sorry, I have to say it, maybe I should, let me say Pornhub, beep out my other word, TDD. And when you deep the fact that they're stimulating your sacral chakra with the fucking logo that they use as well, it's all an orchestrated plan to keep you in this energy center. So you're not going to fully come to terms with what I'm saying in the next bit, but it's okay, because you will once you learn how to heal this chakra. The thing that you may not understand was this. Every expression of consciousness has a higher and lower form. Examples of these higher and lower forms can be felt in our emotional state as well as our energetic state. For example, feelings of anticipation can be felt as either excitement or anxiety. Excitement being a higher form and anxiety being a lower form. The same can be said for feelings of low energy or tiredness. You can either experience this as a feeling of being relaxed or a feeling of being depressed. Get that? Deep rest. Energetically speaking, we're all composed of two energies, feminine and masculine energy, the divine yin yang. Even within these energies, there is both a higher and lower form, or a divine and wounded form. The main characteristic of masculine energy is being projective, meaning active and giving. However, this can be experienced as confidence, protection, inner strength, clarity and responsibility, or if you are a wounded masculine, you will experience being the abuser of power, being dominant, being aggressive, being very controlling. The divine masculine is obviously the higher form of the masculine energy, and the wounded masculine is obviously the lower form of this masculine energy. As for feminine energy, the defining characteristic is being receptive, passive, and contractive, more intuitive. But this again can be experienced as two different forms, the divine feminine and the wounded feminine. The divine feminine is capable of unconditional love, understanding, nurturing, tenderness, kindness, and an overall radiance, whereas a wounded feminine can be stuck in victimhood, powerlessness, weakness, manipulation, and withholding, as well as oversensitivity and codependency. This concept of higher and lower forms can also be applied to our energy centers, aka our chakra system. The great yogis say that because of life's traumas and our reactions to them, our chakras go from spinning clockwise, as they should, to counterclockwise, presenting a degenerate form of that energy. So, in the sacral chakra's case, this lower form manifests as an unstable desire for life. So, think uncontrollable lust for pleasurable experiences, followed by a feeling of emptiness and a lack of desire. We'll be talking about this cycle and how it manifested in my life later in this episode, but first, understand this. Most of us do not enter our teenage years with a pure sacral chakra. Remember how it felt to realize that you lost your innocence and childlike wonder for the world? Well, I'm here to tell you that creative, playful energy never truly goes. And this is coming from someone who lost his innocence at a very, very young age. And I didn't even know that this pure version of this energy even existed. But as with everything, no energy is ever destroyed. It only transmutes into a different form. And with the sacral chakra, this has all to do with our inner child. If our inner child no longer feels safe enough to playfully interact with all of life, it will find other ways to release their creative desires, aka addiction. Addiction being the manipulated lower form of our sacral energy. Whereas sexual discipline, emotional intelligence, and creativity being the highest forms of expression for our sacral chakra. This is when we really start to interpret our spiritual reality. I call it the first gate for a reason. Creativity is like, there's a reason why there's so many spiritual creatives, because they come hand in hand. Yeah, creativity is a very instinctive thing. Like, we look back into history and we see the caveman paintings and traditional dances that's been handed down from generation into generation. This is the sacral chakra at play. Our innate need to create, to lust after life, and to enjoy it, to truly enjoy it. And as we're going to talk about in a minute, this is probably the most traumatized chakra of them all, except for maybe the heart chakra. The reason I keep talking about that is because people with an activated or purified sacral chakra are mad dangerous, bro. If you're a man on a mission and you're holding your seed and you know the power of your creative sexual energy, and especially as a man, and you're sexually disciplined, bro, nobody can stop you. Nobody can stop, because you've mastered inner reality. Once you truly understand this chakra and you've implemented the ways in which to heal it, you have mastered your inner reality and your emotional intelligence. You are unstoppable. Yeah. So like, people that's why you have the common man will release his seed at any chance he gets. He's extremely lustful. He'll watch a lot of porn. He'll be very, very deep invested into hookup culture. On a more mild level, he'll always release when he's in a relationship and not hold his seed when he's in a relationship, or even try to hold his seed. You know what I'm saying? Like, try to make the other woman, you know what I'm saying, be sexually pleased without releasing his own energies. This is the common man we're talking about, and there's nothing wrong with that, but we're just talking about what it takes to actually become the 2.0 version of yourself, the highest potential. And I want to talk about sexual transmutation and holding his seed and everything, holding your seed in the third section. So how do we get there? How do we master our emotions and connect to our deepest creativity? It's through understanding that the sacral chakra are the waters of life. What are the waters of life? Emotion. In order to tap into your deepest creativity, you have to be deeply tapped into your heart, your feminine energy, your emotions. Why are the best, most creative people, the most creative minds we have on planet Earth, why are they always traumatized? Why? Because those traumatic events well up in them a certain way of being, a certain way of feeling. That's a lesson for chakras as a whole, though. Pay attention to each chakra's element, because there's a deep association with what that that dimension of consciousness is trying to express, and the element in physical reality that kind of coincides with it. With this one, it's water. Let's do a little visualization technique. We're going to do this now, and probably at the end of the episode as well. It's kind of some homework, you know what I'm saying? But just close your eyes right now. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Very, very deep. And visualize a massive lake on a shore, a lake surrounded by mountains, just a big body of water. Now, I want you to imagine that body of water is your inner emotional state, right? You don't have to do anything, just still look at the water. Now, let me ask you, what does angry water look like to you? Imagine you're angry and your inner waters are bubbling, what would it be? Would it be boiling? Something like that? What about depression? What would that look like? What would a lake that's depressed look like? Water that's depressed, emotion. I would say maybe stagnant water. Or jealousy. Jealousy is a good one because we have green associated with that. When I think of my inner waters, when I'm jealous or something like that, it's poisoned with envy. It's poisoned water. Or maybe anxious. If you're feeling anxious, how do you feel when you're anxious? You may feel a bit mentally scattered, a bit disturbed. Just disturbed water. You know what I'm saying? Like, every single emotion that you can think of can be corresponding to a certain way of water. I've realized. Okay, open your eyes. Now, I'm going to probably make a 2 to 3, 4 minute guided meditation at the end of this for you to really delve deeper into this. But that's a very powerful exercise because it shows you that your emotions, especially when you're trying to do something else, your emotions will dictate a certain vibration within you that you're consciously not aware of. You're subconsciously always aware of it. But doing like journaling or meditation and kind of meditating on your feeling reality is going to get you a lot more self-aware. It's going to get you a lot more deeply tapped into your creative energy, where you can harness that creative energy at the right time. Cool. And when I say creative energy, I'm not talking about to create, to dance, to act, to sing. I'm talking about to create your life. These emotions are the true architects of your life, because the habits are your architects of your life. Do you get what I mean? So let's say you're angry one day. You feel that boil, that inner boil. What are you going to do with it? If you're consciously aware of that and the fact that your inner waters are bubbling, you're angry right now, you're pumped, bro, go gym. I know that takes a lot of conscious effort, but if you actually manage to do that, bro, you are going to be basically manipulating this life to serve you at every single moment. And it's going to feel amazing. You know, it's going to take some time to get used to, but do that exercise enough. And bro, it will change you. Trust me. And to add to this, what I'm talking about when I say emotions, physiologically, the sacral chakra is associated with the stomach. And what is the stomach and the gut associated with? What do we call it? Our second brain, right? That's because science has found out miraculously that 90% of our serotonin comes from the gut, comes from our microbiome in our gut, you know? So once you stop being so concerned with early life and you transcend that energy from the root chakra upwards, you're going to start to, it's going to become second nature to intuit spiritual reality and to be more creative and to be more tapped in. That's why women are more spiritual than men, G. Because the sacral chakra, they're already open, they're already awakened. Obviously, there's a lot of sexual trauma on both sides. But for women specifically, they find it a lot easier to just be into that feeling reality of life, because that is the true nature of it, and they need to be in order to create new life, which we can't do. You know what I'm saying? But seriously, like, think about it. Why do you think all the creative people are so damn spiritual? Rick Rubin, the literal creative genius. It's because they're no longer operating on a purely physical paradigm. They can't, or else, like, how are they gonna get their creative downloads? They understand how creativity works, and when you this is why creativity is the first passage to understanding metaphysical reality, realizing that ideas aren't your own, thoughts aren't even your own, and instead you connect yourself to the forces and deities who download them ideas into your consciousness. Do you get it? So man, that's a whole lot of information on the sacral chakra. Like, to master this energy, this creative sexual emotional energy, what do we do? How do we actually get there? So man, that was everything I know about the sacral chakra at this moment in my life. But another thing I need to touch on before we go on to the sacral chakra blockages, which we're going to be talking about sexual trauma, we're going to be talking about porn addiction, we're going to be talking about sex addiction and addictions in general. Trigger warning. So go off this video if you don't want to hear that shit, if you're sensitive and shit. I get it, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I just wanted to put in a word of how we master this creative sexual emotional energy. It's not merely through meditation or any of these things. We have to understand the spiritual meaning behind the sacral chakra to truly understand what we must do. Yeah, it's through, paradoxically, embracing our senses. Just like in the root chakra, I was saying you have to connect with physical reality by getting out of your mind and getting in your body. It's kind of like that, but instead it's based on the things that we love to do. Everything, sacral chakra has everything to do with our lust and our desire. Yeah, you master the sacral chakra by embracing your senses, not in a hedonistic way, not in a way of, oh yeah, give me this, give me that, I love this, I love that. No, in a balanced and non-resistant way. It's about balanced sensuality, denying nothing, but also having self-mastery, having self-control. Yeah, so I say this because we're in a society, deep it, where there's two schools of thought when it comes to spiritual awakening and when it comes to mastering the senses. You hear one spiritual teaching that goes, oh, you have to completely deny all sensory pleasures, all animalistic pleasures, no eating, no sex, no dancing, none of that shit. And you also have the other school of thought telling you, which is the capitalist school of thought, which is damn near everybody in society: consume, 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 eat, sex, fucking live your life, gratify yourself until your last breath, bro. That's them niggas. Yeah, so it's very two conflicting things, but as with so many things, the true path lies in the middle. Yeah, the sacral chakra, since its numerology is the second chakra, it has strong connotations with duality, mastering duality. And that is the core theme in this human life, yeah? And there's duality is in everything. Duality is in pleasure. Duality is in emotions. Embracing both sides, you know, and like understanding what negative and positive emotions play in our life, what role that plays. Like, so for example, this is what we're going to get into in my life story video. Every single negative thing that I've gone through in my life has always been a beginning. It's never actually, in the moment, I'm like, oh, fuck, this, that, whatever, what am I going to do? But it was always, looking back, always a new beginning. It was always the start of something new, happy, fresh. So, yeah, man. It's a doorway to higher consciousness, I could call it. So that's the law of polarity. And just to kind of sum this up, the key takeaways of chapter 1: emotional, sexual, and creative energy are the same at its source. The sacral chakra is associated with water. Please do that visualization technique to get a good idea of your mental, emotional state at any given time. Right now it may be calm, another day it might be scattered, right? The first gate to spiritual reality is the sacral chakra, and you access it through expressing your creativity. Yeah. And number 4, the way to master this sacral chakra is through understanding duality and balance. And yeah, that's it, man. That's part 1. Quick reminder, as per every episode, if you're fucking with this, if you're getting a lot of value with this episode, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel to 25k subs by the end of this year. So please join the Kaizen tribe. I would really, really appreciate it if so. All right, chapter 2, sacral blockages, sexual trauma and porn. Guys, this is a very explosive topical conversation, talking about porn, sexual trauma, sex addiction in general. And I just wanted to preface this by saying I am not somebody who is very sacral chakra mastered, if that makes sense, as we all are, I guess. But I guess as a young man, somebody that's going through the blossoming of his sacral chakra himself, I've created this episode mostly for me. Guys, the sacral chakra blockages are very, very triggering and traumatizing. Well, not traumatizing, but it involves a lot of addiction, a lot of sexual trauma, a lot of like things like porn, sex, drugs, that kind of thing. And full disclosure, guys, I've had sexual trauma in my past. You know what I'm saying? So it's manifested in a way where I've had a lot of trouble with this energy center in particular, with addictions, with things like that. And I'm sure a lot of people have that are watching this too. Please comment down below so I don't feel so alone. But I know that there's other people that are like that, especially when it comes to this society. Like, the sacral chakra is so damn powerful, bro. If you were taught from a young age to purify and activate this chakra, like, you couldn't be controlled, bro. Nobody could control you because you've mastered inner reality. You've mastered your emotional intelligence. And unfortunately, that's not the case. And we live in a world, planet Earth, where this whole thing is ran on trauma. And this whole thing is ran on turmoil and sexual manipulation. It's a world where we're manipulated into constantly manifesting more and more traumatic timelines through what they show us on the media, including porn, including Ice Spice and all these. And I'm not talking about for men, I'm not talking about for women, I'm talking about for children. Ice Spice, Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, all these women, no shade to them at all. But at the end of the day, children are being exposed to a reality that they shouldn't be seeing before a certain time. You're activating certain energies within them, certain expressions of consciousness within them that they're not ready for. And so that imprints in them as a sexual trauma, as a sexual problem. Yeah, last week I was showing you guys how, for example, news emotionally manipulates the masses into their reptilian brain, their egoic brain, using the color red, for example. Yeah. And talking a certain way, making certain languages to make it seem as though there's a problem happening to spike their central nervous system when there's nothing happening. Yeah. And I guess it makes sense because the root chakra is blocked by fear. I wonder what the sacral chakra is blocked by. Guilt. Yeah. So what techniques do you think you could use as a person in power to make sure that we don't transcend this energy and push it further up our spine and become more enlightened? What do you do? Men. When do they feel most shameful? After what activity do they feel most shameful? After nutting, bro. That's the case. That's what it is. That's after nutting. The predominant way in which we send our sacral chakra out of balance is through all forms of lust and all forms of sexual trauma, porn included, because it resides in us. It gives us, especially men, a deep sense of guilt, a deep sense of shame, and that is the lowest vibration anybody can ever feel. Shame. It's almost tragic to see, man, because to see the way that, sexual desire has just taken this manipulated form of just uncontrollable lust, hookup culture, Tinder. No shade at all to the people that do it. It's positive, it's sex positive and blah blah blah. But in my opinion, it's quite fucked up, bro. It's not supposed to happen, and the reason you want it to happen and you like it and you think it's okay is because you're sexually traumatized, and because you literally think it's all right to share your sexual energies with a stranger. You can see how that's a bit do you get what I'm saying? And hey, no shade, truly no shade. I'm just saying, be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself, because that's what's making the guilt and the shame worse and worse and worse, because you lie to yourself. Yeah, regardless of viewpoints or whatever. If you're truly cool with it, that's the lifetime that you're supposed to live. That's the spiritual lesson you're supposed to have. But when you have a society that's just deeply sexually traumatized, and if you know anything about trauma, the human brain loves to take control of it, and the way it takes control is by sexualizing it. So of course that's what you're gonna want to do when it comes to that, So yeah, man, when you have children spilling their sexual energies on screens of illusory girls before they even produce sperm, some of them at 8, 9, 10, that we're in a time right now that the way we view sex isn't right. The way we view anything lustful isn't right. And again, I'm not going to cap here. The reason why I have this such a strong viewpoint is because sexual trauma was a massive part of why I started to go on this healing journey. I didn't know the root cause of what I needed to heal until I started healing, and then it happened. When I started doing the deeper work, I was like, oh, so that's what happened in my life to make me crave this, to make me want this, and to give me these thoughts that I hated so much, but for some reason they keep popping up and keep popping up and keep popping up. I'm not going to go into details, but that is the nature of an overactive sacral chakra. So to sum up this episode, let's talk about it. The two types of blocked sacral chakra. There's the blocked, the underactive, like we talked about last episode, and then there's the overactive. Let's say we have blocked on this side, overactive on this side. I am more on the overactive side. I've always been more on the overactive side. When it comes to overactivity on the sacral chakra, you're overly lustful for life, and that can be addictive behaviors in general, You just become a fiend for the pleasures of life, whether that be drugs, whether that be sex, whether that be anything that makes you feel good, anything that you desire hard. That is an overactive sacral chakra, bro. A lot of people suffer from overindulgence in sexual fantasy as well, and that leads to sex addiction, porn addiction, all of those things, extreme mood swings, intense displays of affection, like too intense. That's the overactive side, but then you also have the underactive side. And to be fair, that's not actually, you're not one of the other. I've actually deeped that. You're never one of the other. It's you go like this. So let me just tell you, the underactive sacral chakra is, you have no lust, you have a very deep lack of interest in sex altogether. You find it very difficult expressing emotions and needs and creating and doing creative stuff. You know, you have just this dissatisfaction with life, this feeling of disconnection from the world. That spark for life is gone. And what's crazy is, this is how a sacral chakra imbalance will manifest itself. Again, it will go like this. So you will experience both ups and downs. You experience it. It's not like a root chakra where you've been programmed to have one or the other. You fluctuate from having one to the other without having the sexual or emotional discipline to break the cycle. So you just keep going up and down and up and down and up and down. It's fucked, man. And I think I'm just going to give you like an example of somebody to kind of drive home this point, to fully make you deep if you have a blocked root chakra or not. Yeah. Most people do.
Okay, this is the personal example that I've spent damn near all day today trying to film. This is the story of how my blocked sacral chakra manifested in my life through a porn addiction, and how I managed to actually purify and awaken my sacral chakra, which funnily enough only happened a few days after recording this podcast. So I wasn't even going to tell you this story. I was going to give you guys some bullshit hypothetical examples, but now I feel like I'm healed enough to actually talk about my experiences with lessons for people who are still struggling with this kind of addiction, or any addiction, you know. So yeah, man, I would love to share my story with you. Just know you're very, very privileged to hear it, because I promise you, I haven't told any other soul other than my girlfriend about this. None of my friends, none of my family. And yet I'm here sharing it on the internet in hopes to heal someone and help someone out there. Alright, I'm going to try limit this to around 9 to 10 minutes, because I could go on and on and on about the ins and outs of this. But long story short, my sacral chakra blockage started in childhood, like most people, either through sexual trauma or through emotional trauma. I was involuntarily shown porn at the age of like 5 or 6 years old by somebody who was a little bit older than me. I was at a park playing outside. Remember, for those who live on an estate, you know the vibes. You have the park downstairs, you're playing, there's kids around. I heard these two kids talking about RedTube. I was like, hey, what's RedTube? And they were like, oh yeah, don't worry, man, it's just mini clip. It's like a game thing. I was like, what? No way, I've never heard of RedTube. Let's go upstairs and watch it right now. They looked at me, they started laughing, bro. They were like, ha ha ha, okay, cool, yeah, we'll go upstairs, we'll play it now, man. We went upstairs, bro. I don't know why they didn't just like stop there, but they showed me, bro. They showed a 5-year-old some porn, G. And you go ahead and laugh at how that happened. It's fine, I laugh about it all the time. But what's crazy is, it's weird, in your mind, in the mind of a child, things aren't traumatizing as like when this happening. I didn't think, oh yeah, this is traumatizing. It wasn't even sexual for me. I just found it quite interesting, and I wanted to see more, and it breeded this weird obsession with figuring out what sex is at like 5-6 years old, bro. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, at this time I didn't even know there was anything wrong with it. Like, I didn't know there was any taboos, like societal taboos or any of it. It just wasn't mentioned in my life ever up until this point. So this was a very hardcore way to figure out that sex is real. You know what I'm saying? That the sex is how babies are made. This just got me curious. I started going on my own computer, like searching things associated with sex, blah 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 blah. Usually people go through this phase around 9 or 10 and then find porn at like 11, 12, 13, right? I was 6. So when my grandmother my Catholic grandmother caught me watching something on RedTube. I was severely punished, and I was severely programmed into feeling a lot of guilt and shame around the topic of sex and porn and myself. I genuinely thought, like, for real, like from the bottom of my heart, I thought I was a genuinely bad person for viewing it in the first place. I didn't see myself as a victim. I saw everybody, I saw myself as the perpetrator. So there was a lot of blame, there was a lot of guilt. Yeah, it's funny to think about now, because I genuinely, like, little Junaid, little me was like, you are going to go to hell, bro. Like, how do you feel about that? You're actually going to go hell? Because at this time I was fully Catholic. I went to a Catholic school, everything. So yeah, at this time I must have been like, what, 7 or 8 when they found me watching that. And my family just didn't help. They just didn't help me. And honestly, you're always going to hear me say, like, no shade to my family in the slightest, no shade to my grandmom, no shade to anyone involved, because they were programmed in their own certain way. And, you know, it's no one's fault. I'm now who I am now because of these things, you know. So you're always going to hear me say that, because I don't ever want to come across as victim-y or blamey, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, and you should feel the same way about your experiences. But yeah, this basically got me around like 8 years old to vow that I never watch porn again. But there was always that voice in the back of my mind that was like, oh bro, forbidden fruit. Like, so yeah, that's how that ended. At 8 years old, I felt so shit about myself. I was like, I'm gonna vow to never watch porn again, right? So for a long time, I had this repressed lust. My sacral chakra energy was activated, but in a very degenerate way, like we were talking about before. I held a lot of guilt and blame and trauma and negative feelings around sex and all of that stuff until well, to be fair, until recently, literally until recently. Now, as for the porn addiction, it actually came back around, obviously, puberty. That's where it was all cool and everybody else was doing it around my age. But still, in my life, this was a massive part of my shadow. This was a part that I couldn't even accept of myself, let alone tell anybody else about it. So, you know, I just never told a soul. Even when it was cool to watch, like I said, it just felt like something to keep secret, something that no one should know about, because if they do find out, they're going to hate me or find me weird or this or that. So fast forward to 14, 15 now, I can truly feel my sacral chakra imbalance. Obviously, on a very subconscious level, I didn't understand any of this at the time, but it now makes sense to me why I was one of those kids who didn't really have the desire to go party or have drugs or drink or just have fun in that way. Like, even though I did, it just didn't feel necessary or important in my life, which meant I worked a lot. Like, I had this repressed lust when it came to just everyday life, because I feel like it was being snatched away by the porn. I still managed to get myself a beautiful girlfriend and everything, but I feel like even then, the person that she knew was someone with a lot of discipline when it came to, like, she looked at me compared to all the other, like, boys around her, and I was somebody who, you know, I always looked after at the parties, or, you know what I'm saying, like, she could do what she's doing and I never really got drunk or did any of that. But now I realize that's because my desire was channeled through, number one, wanting to be rich and move me and my girlfriend out of our toxic households, but also my sacral chakra energy was very capped. So I was somebody that was capable of extreme discipline when it came to, like, going out, going to parties, doing drugs, because I didn't really lust after life like that. I was always spilling my energies to fucking porn, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's actually, I know it's so explicit to say, but this is the reality of so many young men out there. It's so true. And it's no surprise you get these 14, 15, 16-year-olds that are literally obsessed with getting rich and hitting the big time and blah, 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 like I was, while also not actually just enjoying the youth of their life, like the young energy of wanting to go out and wanting to do all of, like, have these new experiences and lusting after life. It's not there anymore because their sacral chakra energy is so capped. Anyway, coming back to my story, right? I got a job at like 14. I had my girlfriend, making money, making my bread, making sure my girlfriend's good. And yeah, man, just moving out. Literally, that was the main thing of my life. And I now see that as the repressed lust. So fast forward like 5 years, I'm 18, about to move out. I'm sitting in my new apartment and I'm like, okay, so this is it. I'm quitting porn. Because before this, I was like, yeah, as soon as I move out, that's not going to be a thing in my life anymore, right? I didn't know that I actually had a problem with it. 2 weeks into living with my girlfriend, I realized I still have this problem. Like, I realized I still have this problem with looking at it when I don't want to anymore. I actually don't want to, but yet I'm on autopilot mode, going to search these things and watch these things. Like, it really, really, really got to me, and it made me feel like the worst person in the world. So against all my voices in my head, I decided to actually tell my girlfriend about this, because I was serious about changing it and I didn't really see any other way out. And this is where the spiritual awakening began, because when I told her, everything fell apart. Remember when I said in episode 3, guys, that your spiritual journey will always start with a leaving from home? Yeah, I left my actual parents' house, and I also left the comfort of this relationship, because for the 5-6 years that we were together, it was kind of like a me and her vibe, like just us. I didn't kiss anybody before her, I didn't have sex with anyone before her, and it's the same thing with her. So it really, really got to her. Like, we weren't the same for like a year, 2 years. I didn't think that me and my girl were gonna actually like get past this, but after 6 to 12 months of spiritual evolution, I finally was able to completely cut the habit. But there was this voice in the back of my mind, the same voice that was taunting me at 8 years old, saying forbidden fruit, forbidden fruit, forbidden fruit. Not even like I wanted to watch it, not even like I wanted to, it was just telling me that it's something forbidden, something that, and anytime you feel some sort of guilt or some sort of shame towards something, you will do it again. You will feel the pull to do it again, because there's something within you, there's something within the human psyche and the human nature to explore what is forbidden in your mind and in the external as well. And I couldn't shake this feeling. I was, in a sense, scared to watch it again, because it's this forbidden fruit that I know will destroy my relationship if I watch again. But then on my 22nd birthday, all of that crumbled, because I had a session, a certain substance. I'm actually not going to say what substance it is, because, to be fair, I may say in the comments if you ask, but there's a lot of like, I don't want to get this video demonetized or whatever. But I had a therapy session with this substance, and again, it was just in the comfort of my own home with me and my woman, right? And on my 22nd birthday, I can finally tell you the secret to unblocking your sacral chakra, which is releasing guilt. Releasing guilt and facing all the parts of yourself that you once labeled as bad will free you from any and all addictions, including porn and sex addiction. The reason you always keep relapsing and going back is because there's a part of you that isn't accepting itself. On my 22nd birthday, me and my girlfriend sat each other down and just talked and talked and talked, and I told her everything that was on my mind, any lie that I once told, just everything, literally everything, man. And the lies that you're telling other people, you are literally not trapping them, but you're trapping yourself. You need to understand that any lie, anything that you don't accept about yourself, anything that you don't accept about your past selves as well, you are trapping your present self for who it could be. And if you told me this a few days ago, a few months ago, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. I would just be like, yeah, cool, but no one can know, right? No, but I think that's why sometimes substances are so amazing, because they can take you out of your base mode of consciousness and make you experience something different. I experienced the exalted form of the sacral chakra, and it literally felt like I was my childlike self again. Innocence, the pure bliss and joy of being a child, the childlike wonder was restored. It was restored just through telling the truth and releasing all blame and guilt from who I thought I was. Awakening the sacral chakra is very simple, but the hardest thing you are ever going to do, and that is accepting yourself, releasing anything that is trying to tell you that you are a bad person for doing anything, and just being in the here and now. You can never be in the here and now if you don't accept yourself fully. But when you do, oh my God, recently, guys, I've been living in heaven. It genuinely feels like vibrational heaven on earth. The amount of freedom of expression I feel, the amount of love and connection I feel with my woman, the desire, all of it is crazy. It's actually crazy, because who would have thought that my sacral chakra or a sacral chakra could be blocked from just subconscious malaise. And the reason I call it subconscious malaise is because it's not something like somebody with a blocked sacral chakra hearing this right now is probably thinking it in the back of their mind, but not allowing them to feel it, not allowing them to permeate their being. But once you do, you will find the inner beauty in everything. That's how it feels to have an awakened, purified sacral chakra. You literally return back to your childlike self, and it's amazing. You no longer lose yourself in animalistic hedonism, and that's what I'm saying. Remember the higher and lower forms of everything. You no longer lose yourself in the lower forms of uncontrollable lust and then no desire for life. It's just a steady, beautiful kind of like gratitude for everything. Even sex itself is no longer this hedonistic kind of uncontrollable pleasure. It's more like a play, it's more like a dance, and it's the best thing you're ever going to experience. So yeah, guys, that was my story. This is very new to me, and this chakra series has been unblocking my chakra system like a motherfucker. I'm not even joking. But if there's anything I want you to take away from this episode, please forgive yourself for whatever it is. And maybe you can understand what I'm saying, but until you understand it and internalize forgiving yourself and accepting every version of you won't be able to feel this bliss of an awakened sacral chakra. You won't be able to create freely. So yeah, back to the podcast. You can see how this sacral chakra is a bit different. It's somebody with a sacral chakra imbalance is going to experience both the highs and the lows, because the lows kind of perpetuate the highs and the highs perpetuate the lows, unfortunately. So this is the current state of a lot of young men's and young women's sacral chakra. How can we fix it? And I went down a deep rabbit hole for these answers. I have four massive practices that this is my new motto, I should say. You know how Hamza on his YouTube channel, he goes, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. My one, knowledge is not power. Implementation is. Yeah? All this knowledge that I'm giving you don't mean shit if you do not put it in your life and at least try it for 7 days and experience the high. Go through the darkness, go through the, this is bad, this is shit, whatever, and then come out the other side and just see how you feel, you know? The first one is I feel journaling and meditation. It's very, very similar to the lake visualization that we did earlier. Should we do it? You want to do it? Cool, let's do it. Close your eyes right quick. Close your eyes. If you don't, just skip this part. But if you really just want to tap into what's the thought stories that you entertain most, especially right now, do this. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Release. Listen. This big lake that you are seeing right now represents the content of your body, your mind, and your soul. It is your state of being. Now, I would like you to sit there and just watch the lake. Thought stories will come up. It's the best thing to do in the morning, because when you do this in the morning, you're going to be able to access your core vibration and not just thoughts and feelings that come up throughout the day as a result of things you experienced in that day. You want to access your core vibration, the vibration that's been indoctrinated within you from a young boy or young girl or a young other. Watch what the lake morphs into when a certain thought form or thought story pops up. Remember how I said anger could translate into a bubbling lake, boiling lake, a rough lake, or anxiousness is a big one, a scattered lake, feeling anxious, feeling scarce, feeling barren of all resources, feeling jealous. Now experience a positive one. Experience a positive lake with positive emotions. Think about how it might feel to be running through a lily field or lavender field, the smells, the freedom. Your inner water will dictate the emotions that you feel. And those emotions that you feel will dictate the habits that you partake in. Yeah. Now open your eyes, guys. That was a really just base level. But if I really say to go deeper into the I feel journaling and meditation, journaling as well. All because what you're doing when you're saying I feel, you are tapping in deeply into your subconscious mind and into your emotions and into your heart-brain coherence. And heart-brain coherence, really quickly, is science has found out now that the brain actually doesn't tell the heart what to do. The heart tells the brain what to do. And so instead of, we think it's, I'm getting anxious thoughts, so my body does anxious things and has a fast heartbeat. But no, you can actually manually change that. When you have a fast heartbeat next time, consciously slow it down through slow breathing. And tell yourself in your mind that you're okay. Feel the gratitude, feel the good feelings flood through your body and brain. Feel the bliss, feel the calm, feel the serenity. Yeah? When you feel that serenity, the heart is going to slow down, and so the brain is going to produce better thoughts, right? And it's just a constant interplay between the heart and mind. The mind are thoughts, the heart is feelings. You can shift your core vibration, you can shift your core feelings just through breath. I swear down. But anyway, I feel journaling is sick, 100%. Just literally incorporate it into your normal your journaling, literally 2 or 3 sentences, just going, today I feel, and it's just going to allow you to be a lot more in touch with yourself and a lot more self-aware. Yeah. Number 2, sugar. Listen, sugar is detrimental as hell. Especially in this society where we live in a place where everything has sugar. Why does everything have sugar? Because it triggers all existing addictive tendencies. Yeah, it kills good bacteria in the gut, leading to less serotonin production, making you feel more negative, right? And when you feel more negative, you act more negative. When you act more negative, you're so much more likely when you feel more negative, you do bad things. You have the habits that you have. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. For real though, I do believe negativity and guilt are the trigger to carrying out your addictive behaviors. When you feel that shame, when you feel that guilt, when you feel negative feelings, you want to change your situation, innit? You want to change how you feel or what you're going through. So you're like, I don't like this, or blah 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 blah, and you're trying to run away with your addictive behaviors. Sugar also increases insulin in the blood, which may cause insulin resistance, making you feel anxious, overly emotional, the whole fight or flight thing. Yeah. Do you see this though? And you start holding belly fat. Do you see how it all connects? Do you see how, like, it's as if they've created a web of shit to keep you in your lower centers, to make sure you don't access a vibration that will allow you to manifest greater and greater timelines instead of worse and worse timelines. Yeah. Just saying. Third is art. Whatever your art is, writing, dancing, acting, singing, actual visual art, even business building and entrepreneurship, bro. Indulging in the act of creating something from nothing, bridging the gap from the thoughts in your mind to something in real life and making it is, like I said, the first gate into the spiritual, bro, and into this chakra. You become mindful of how your body and your mind reacts to creating something new, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Like the feeling of, like, even me creating this podcast is me exerting my sacral chakra energy, because I had to write a whole thing about it, I had to research it, and had to deliver this information in a way that hopefully you find interesting. I don't know though, you know what I'm saying? But no, man, some people, they dedicate their lives to their art and replace releasing their sexual energies, like with normal sex and whatnot, with making money and with building a business or mastering their craft. I swear, look at Mike Tyson. He stopped having sex for like 10 years apparently, just so he can knock niggas out. This is the power of art, man. This is the power of creating your art, whatever it is. Editing, TDD, shout out, my guy, I see you. This is an art, bro. That's an art form, real talk. You need to start indulging in that center more in order to heal it more. This is one of those ones. Number 4, sexual transmutation and semen retention. If you are an addict in any sort of way, if you're able to become emotionally disciplined enough, right, to practice this for 10 days, if you're a porn addict or a sex addict or anything, it will genuinely change your life. I'm not joking in any way. Yes, cool. The root chakra, we talked about some very life-changing foundational stuff. But this stuff it will make you, oh my God. Can you see I'm not joking? Like, can you see out of all of these things that I've tried and tested, my meditations, my exercises, my shadow work, my grounding, shadow work is also on this level. It's S tier, right? Maybe I should do a tier list of all spiritual practices. Comment and like if you actually want that. But yeah, listen. Semen retention is one of those things that will induce a spiritual awakening for you. It's one of those things. When I was out in the caravan for 2 weeks, shout out to the hyperbolic time chamber process. It's on my YouTube. I think it's on my actual home. So if you want to watch that afterwards, I held my seed and I didn't allow myself to succumb to any lustful thoughts or deeds. I wasn't eating any excess sugar at that time too, to kind of really get my desire just low. And bro, I have to tell you, the mental clarity, the mental purity, like you're not just always being bombarded by certain thoughts that you don't even want to have, like these lustful thoughts that you don't even want, but they're just it doesn't happen anymore because you're not allowing yourself the focus, the potency. You feel so strong, you feel so alert, and you feel so happy. Man, it showed me what it's like to literally walk around with a purified and balanced sacral chakra. And I'll be honest, it feels as though you've mastered inner reality, bro. Like, literally 10 days. That's all it is. Yeah, cool. You might go through a little flatline period, or if you are an addict of something, there's always that period in the middle that makes you feel like there's just nothing. And that's your sacral chakra healing. Yeah. You don't feel anything for any, like, it's literally like you have an underactive sacral chakra. But once you get past that and you're holding your seed, bro, you don't get intrusive thoughts like that anymore. It's so easy to get into the divine flow of life. It's just like, yeah, man, you have the control to veer your attention wherever you want it to. You have this negative thought, meh. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. All you must do, and this is what I'm saying, there's so much power in taking away. Mate, yeah, there's always things we can add. But two of the 5 things that I'm talking about here is about taking away sugar and sexual pleasing yourself for literally 10 days. Just to see how you feel, man. Treat it as an experiment if you want. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, you're at peace with the universe. Just go with the divine flow, like I said, while also being the architect of your life. You have the emotional intelligence to allow yourself to stick to habits because your self-love and self-confidence increases. Yeah. And then despite having negative feelings here and there, obviously you can stick through to them, and it's amazing. So that's number 4. And lastly, guys, number 5 is astral projection and lucid dreaming. I didn't put too much about this because, complete transparency, I've never astral projected before. I have lucid dreamed before, but I've never properly astral projected. I've tried many times, but again, your astral waters, this is a very connected subject when we're talking about chakras, and emotional intelligence and all of these things are very connected to leaving your physical body through astral projection, like, honestly. And I'm going to start making TikToks very soon on
astral projection, the more I learn about it, and on lucid dreaming. So please, if you would like to know more about that, just let me know, and I might even make a whole podcast on it and delve into it deeper myself. But these things take time, obviously. If it is a big enough topic, then I will definitely start posting about it on my Patreon as well. And just you know what I do, guys. You guys tell me what to do or what to master. I go away, I research it, and I make a whole video about it while also mastering it for myself. So yeah, man, I hear that astral projection and lucid dreaming is amazing for not only healing your sacral chakra, but because astral projection and lucid dreaming are ways in which to get insight from your subconscious mind and astral body, you then begin to understand why you do things unconsciously and crave certain things and lust a certain way. Yeah, I think lucid dreaming was a big part of my healing journey, because for me personally, I had a lot of things that I couldn't remember, a lot of things that I just didn't know why I liked or did certain things, and lucid dreaming really showed me why. And it was always through unconscious archetypal themes. Shout out my Jungians, you know what I'm saying, But nah, man, guys, I did my best on this episode. With the amount of information that I do know personally about the sacral chakra. I hope that this was enlightening for you. I hope this was game changing for you, because there's a lot of things in here that if you implement and if you really take in, again, you've mastered inner reality, then you've mastered outer reality. The mirror is reflecting back to you what you truly are: abundance. Nah, man. But yeah, without further ado, thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Break the Matrix podcast. I'm your boy Kaizen, and I love you. Kaizen out. Kaizen big out. It's my birthday literally tomorrow, so yeah, in a bit. Wish me happy birthday. Cheers!